Gentlemen, I would like to take the opportunity now, if anybody obviously needs to rush and go home, then that's what you may do, but it would be lovely to have you stay for our questions and answers session. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Noel O'Neill, the playwright. Irish historian Peter Murphy. Peter, if you're there. And the lovely Mike Anthony Sheehy. Brilliant. Very good. Thank you.
Question? Anybody?
Did you get married? Did you ever get married in Boston?
Yes, I believe so. After all that, I'd hope so.
And have children?
Yes, he married an Irish lady, Sarah Maverick. They had 4 children, 4 girls.
I can't hear you.
Sorry. Yes, he married a lady called Sarah Murphy, and they had 4 children, 4 girls, and the marriage was quite successful. They met at the Boston Pilot, where she was working as an administrator and he was working as a journalist.
And how old was he when you arrived in America?
He celebrated his 25th birthday on the Gazelle.
Wow.
So was his death accidental?
There's some speculation as to whether it was a deliberate overdose or was it an accident, and there's also some speculation that he may have been assassinated.
Oh, really?
He took this chloral hydrate for his sleep.
Sorry?
He took the chloral hydrate for his sleep, and that's what killed him.
That's right. But
so if someone...
Sorry?
If someone assassinated him, how would they manage that?
Because what had happened was he was administered some chlorophyll from his wife, which was the normal sort of ritual in the evenings to help him sleep.
Yeah. Now, ladies, don't get any ideas. We could all be sleeping after this.
Have you got some blood?
What is believed is that he had a second dose of the drug. Okay. You have to remember at that time, O'Reilly was he was disenfranchised from the Fenian organisation because he had actually wrote many derogatory things about them in the Pilot. This was after, of course, the Fenians' invasion of Canada. But what had happened was that during that time, a politician called Darcy McGee was also a Fenian antagoniser, and he was assassinated in Canada around the same time. So the Fenians were basically not too pleased about people who were bad-mouthing them, and there was some speculation where O'Reilly at one time felt that his life was under threat.
Yeah.
Michael?
Yes.
That was brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
It was excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Great delivery.
Thank you.
We were transported.
Oh, thank you.
It was like watching a movie.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Please tell Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
Or whoever. But thank you.
You had us a hello.
Oh, thank you. That's
But
great.
also we're all wondering, how did you recite all this?
Well, a lot of alcohol, I will admit. I don't know, to be honest. I actually don't know, because I only discovered about a year ago that I have some sort of learning thing where I find it really hard to read a book, like, because it's like that. If it's on a wall, I can kind of read it like better. Like, I don't know why, but I find I read it and then I have to think, what the hell did I just read? Especially with this fella's right, just like, oh my God, what the hell is this about? But it was kind of like a bit of a journey myself reading it, because it's a lot deeper. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've done what I've done, but like, it's very deep. It's kind of, you know, I mean, how deep can it be, this particular piece of work? So I feel blessed that I did remember. Maybe I missed one or two lines, but you'll never know. But yeah, I think if the writing is good and the story is good and it's consistent, and I just feel blessed that I'm able to do it. I do have to put it on a wall, like up on a wall, and then I learn it, and then when that's in me, I try never to look at it again. So I learn it to completely forget it. So I do not try and hold the script. I try and get off the script ASAP, because for me it's like I can't lose myself unless if I'm trying to think of what have I got to say. And he's a really great guy to work with, because yeah, he's really great, you know. And we've worked together on a few things, both in film and on theatre. And Noel has also directed me on a few things. And I like working with Noel, because he'll just say, oh fuck it, you know, do it this way, or you know, I don't feel like I'm not pussyfooting around. Do you know what I mean? You know, it feels very real. And I mean, he really knew this story because he'd written it years ago. And I just felt very privileged that I got the opportunity to do this. And I've only recently met Peter, and his great work, what he has done. So, you know, it's a story that I didn't know enough about, but I'm really thrilled to have done it, and thanks for that question.
If I could just elaborate a little bit on that question, is I've studied O'Reilly for over 20 years.
Wow.
And I've never really actually sort of got to the heart of the guy. But I met him tonight.
Noel, what inspired you to write the play? Was there a book?
No, I was asked by Peter, and I was asked by Fred Ray to. This is an interesting story, and what got to me was the poetry and the heart of the man and the soul. And I mentioned it in the script. There's something about the man that's very complex, and that you remember. You know, he's got so many layers that you can't help but feel for the guy. And that's the first thing that I say when I write. Why would I like this man? Why would I write about somebody I didn't like? And the fact that he died at the age of 41.
44.
44.
46.
So this is such a full life of a young man in his 20s to be brought from one prison to the other. He was put into solitary confinement for 2 years.
2 years.
For trying to escape. And trying to keep, that's why he appears as a spirit, because the spirit in him is what is alive today. And I took that spirit and hopefully put it into the heart of Michael. Peter gave me the information I need. Fred Ray gave me the information I need. And so that's what inspired me to tell the story. And it's a lovely story. He did, absolutely,
so
yes.
He has books of poetry?
Yes, he does.
Right.
Yeah, he was a poet laureate. Yeah, and he owned the Boston Pilot with the church, and he went on. He had his funeral was bigger than the President of the United States. It was huge. It was absolutely huge. Yeah.
Peter, tell us about the date he escaped.
Oh yeah, I mean now we're.
Oh yes, yes. some of you in the audience may have attended the Fenian Fremantle Festival in Fremantle over the weekend. Well, that was to celebrate the 150th anniversary of O'Reilly's escape from Western Australia, which, incidentally, on Saturday, it's 150 years to the date when he stepped onto the Gazelle. This Saturday, 150 years ago, he stepped onto the Gazelle and made his way to America. So we're all pretty privileged to be in that time frame at this moment.
Have you ever met any of your ancestors from, or are they?
I have on occasions received emails from people who claim to be related to John Boyle O'Reilly, and I'm not too sure if some of you like to drink a bottle of wine now and again, but there is a bottle of wine that's circling around with John Boyle O'Reilly's picture as a label. Has anyone seen that around? Anyway, one of his long lost relations actually emailed me requesting could we actually stop the winery, which is an Australian winery, from actually sort of using his photograph to portray a criminal, which is quite interesting. Anyway, Fred Ray in his lovely RC magazine published the letter that we wrote to the wine company, actually asking them to please don't exploit one of their patrons as a criminal.
I was just asked about the John Flood, that I have the same name. I never did the research, but just, and I missed your first part here, just in terms of the relationship with John and Jenny, was there
Jesse?
a closeness? No, just in terms of John Flood and John Boyle O'Reilly.
Edward Kelly and John Flood.
Yeah.
John Flood remained in Australia, and he became quite famous in New South Wales, where he got involved in actually sort of writing newspapers and editorials. But him and O'Reilly were very close on the Yugamont, as well as Cashman and John Casey and Edward Kelly.
Why is there not a movie? I mean, to me it's like, geez, there's a making.
Yes.
And I know you talked about it maybe 10, 15 years ago. Why has it not? Is it just people aren't interested in taking it on as a project?
Because Mike couldn't act in it.
Thank you. Meet my agent.
Well, now that you're in there, now's the time to go.
You are as of now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that.
Excuse me.
Yes, Sarah has a question.
Peter, can you just explain where your interest for this story, which is beautiful, came from? Like, what in particular grabbed you?
Look, it's a lovely little story. I live in Donnybrook in the southwest, and not far from Bunbury. And myself and my partner, we were going snorkeling one day off Coombana Bay, and I was in the car park. We were taking out our snorkeling gear, and the car pulled up beside us, and I shouted out something to my partner, and the person in the car next picked up my Irish accent, and I heard his voice in my direction saying, "Are you here to see a man? Are you here to see a man?" And I'm going, "What man?" "O'Reilly, isn't this where you escaped from?" Oh. And I'm going, what's she talking about? So I just left it, and then this O'Reilly thing was just reverberating in my head, and then I started to do the research, and I just thought, I was actually snorkeling on the very beach that he stepped onto the Gazelle, and I did not know.
Wow.
So that's how I got it.
How many people left from that beach on that day?
How many people left from the beach?
On the boat?
There was O'Reilly, Martin Bowman, and another two convicts. The other two convicts we don't know very much about, but we believe that they were actually involved with Bowman in relationship to spilling the beans, and they had no choice but to take them on board. But those convicts, those other three convicts, including Bowman, they basically were arrested in Mauritius,
Good.
And O'Reilly, because O'Reilly was such a charismatic character that the crew of the Gazelle, they just gathered around him and they protected him. And it's a long story, but he remained on the Gazelle. And then when they got to Reunion Island, he took board on another ship, the Sapphire, which landed in Liverpool, and then he took the Bombay from Liverpool to Philadelphia.
Zalia.
So, is the story like that he escaped from Fremantle prison and then went to Maverick?
No, he was only in Fremantle for 4 weeks, and then he was sent down on the little schooner, the Wild Wave, to Bunbury. Because of his writing skills and his grammar, they needed people with writing skills in the Bunbury region to help out with the convict depot. So that's how he actually ended up in Bunbury.
So was he still? So that would have been like a population of what, 50 down in Bunbury at that time.
300.
300, like really small. And so when he escaped with the other convict, did it like set a precedent of like people just like would? I was just imagining in the prison, like the heads that would roll, allowing 2 or 4 convicts to escape. Did it set something in motion? Do you know?
He was the only one that ever escaped. We have to go
From Bunbury.
From Bunbury, but we have to go. I think I probably would allow Noel to probably allow the Catalpa. We'd have to go, say, from 1869 to 1876. There were still 8 Fenian prisoners from the 62 Fenians that arrived on the Hougoumont. There were still 8 of them still incarcerated in Fremantle prison. O'Reilly, when he got to America, he met up with Clan na Gael, the Irish race, or the Irish, the Fenian Brotherhood. And they enacted an escape to get the Fenians out of Fremantle prison. And O'Reilly was very instrumental in helping that escape. By the time the Catalpa got here, one had died, and one named James Keeley apparently wasn't in the exact location they needed to break him out of prison. So they actually got the other 6 convicts on the Catalpa, went back to America, and O'Reilly was waiting for them, and he gave the most magnificent oration in New York when they arrived safely. So that's and incidentally, folks, I'm sorry to go on about this, but Peter Fitzsimons, the famous Australian author, will release his book, The Catalpa Rescue, on the 22nd of April at Rockingham Beach. So if you're very interested in the whole story and O'Reilly's connection, it'll be a blockbuster, and it may end up being probably a blockbuster movie, because there is a rumour that Russell Crowe is very interested in actually
Over my dead body. After all that, I mean, what an ending. I'm not doing tomorrow night. I'm finished. Bye. Going home. That's it. I mean, what can I say? Peter, you can't recover from that one.
Why did he turn against the Fenians?
Why?
Russell Crowe can do an Irish accent.
Why did O'Reilly turn against the Fenians? What had happened was that when he arrived in America, of course, he got caught up in the Fenian Brotherhood. They planned to invade Canada, would you believe? So O'Reilly was actually given the job...
Australia?
No, he's in Boston.
From America. From Boston. So O'Reilly was given the job as a journalist because of his previous experience as being a journalist, to cover the Fenians' invasion of Canada. Anyway, it was a complete schmozzle. Many men got killed, it was a failure, lots of men were captured and incarcerated, and Variety just said, that's it, I've had enough of Fenianism. There has to be another way to solve peace, and he thought by political means and by the pen was the only way to actually sort of resolve peace and bring the United Ireland. which basically turned the Fenians against him. Was that answer your question? Yeah.
So, how many Fenians were planning on invading?
Thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah. You have to remember that after the Civil War in America, a lot of the Irish that had gone over during the famine had basically sort of become part of the Union and the Confederate Army.
Oh.
And then what had happened was, of course, they decided that they'd invade Canada.
That's right, yeah?
What was the intent? What did they want to achieve?
Well, because it was under British rule, and the fact was that they believed that they wanted their own sovereignty over the land. They couldn't get it off the British in Ireland. Best place was Canada.
Well, just a bit of trivia. I noticed next year, I think they're calling it the Newsman 62. This is just one story of 62 stories. And Gordon is here, and her great granduncle was one of the Fenians. She's sitting here for that. He was one that never came on the ship. I do a lot of research on trolls. Free website that the Australian government put on. I don't know if you know, the Mongolly subway was known as Fenians Crossing. And the road from Mongolly subway to Guildford was known as Fenians Road because the Fenians road gang built that road. And the Fenians built Perth Town Hall. And the schools around that area were another one. And they did a lot of the work around the area. So there's many stories about the Fenians. There's 62 stories there. And John Boyle O'Reilly, who was the high profile one, he was one of the top stories. Well, none of them sit there. And the John Golden story, which Anne has written, is a fascinating story. So there's so much to read about this. It's just unbelievable.
Sorry?
When did he come back around the top on Cambridge Street?
Ask the guy behind you.
Is it true that you impregnated the governor's daughter?
Hang on, who are you referring to, me? With the
Not
road?
my story. Did he impregnate?
Look, a lot of speculation whether there was a child. We've only received information last year that a letter showed up in San Francisco which claimed that O'Reilly had actually written to Maguire's in Dartmouth wanting to know was the child still alive. Now, I haven't cited a letter, but apparently there is a book which has just been published with claims that the letter is authentic. But we married up the dates between when O'Reilly was with Jessie Woodman and during that period when he escaped and when he got to America. And there seems to be a bit of discrepancy on whether that basically would have happened.
Did the child not die and that's why he tried to commit suicide? I read that somewhere as well.
Possibility, but she went on to marry a local lad called Picasso, and she, I wouldn't say lived happily ever after. She became there was a bit of notoriety with her name later on, but possibly because O'Reilly had probably left her in the family way. Who knows?
Yeah. Are you going to write a part 2 to this?
No.
So, a question was posed the other week about the culture of Western Australia, about being Western Australian, about being Australian, and our culture. I didn't realise the Irish influence on Western Australia. That would this be part of our culture? Do you know this is a cultural story? Like, I guess part of the story is convicts and...
Yeah, it's a good question because of the 62 Fenians that arrived on the Huguenots, 1/3 of them actually stayed in Western Australia.
Still here.
Yeah. And from that, of course, they were all very articulate men. And of course, they did shape some of the fabric of West Australian society as we know today. Some of our buildings in Perth Town Hall was built by some of the Fenians. And like Fred said, there was many roads built, there was prisons built, there was bridges built, and they're also involved in literature and drama. as Fred said, there's 62 stories. And some of them are buried in Karrakatta, some of them are buried at, what is the name of the graveyard? East Perth Cemetery. And what's the one in Fremantle?
And Skinner Street.
Skinner Street. So basically, yes, they did have a big influence on the fabric of Western Australia history and heritage.
Given everything that Peter has told us, Noel and Michael, do you feel you've done justice to the story? And like, how hard was Noel on you in presenting this piece?
You go first. I'll follow your lead.
Well, when I was on the radio, somebody asked me, how did you find the voice of O'Reilly? And the thing is that you just have to take what the personal stuff, the romances, and all the romantic stuff. I am a romantic at heart. I do. So what I had to do was take whatever I had in my childhood. I used to write little songs, and he used to write poetry. So you take that and you try and make it, not my life, but you have to personalize it a bit. And your heartache and your pain and your this. I could never relate to prison life. Well, not that any of you know this. But you have to think of like the worst times of your life and put it into the writing. And the best, the light parts, and that's why there are light moments in it, because it's a very dark story. But all I can do is hope so. That's all I can do, because I never met the man. I'm only going on what's written. I never heard his voice.
Did you bring Mike too much?
I think Mike did a fantastic job. When you're working with somebody and you're both on the same page, then you know that you've got something cooking very well. And we always were. And so when that works, casting this, that, when that works, I just feel it. Look, there were times when both of us were crying when
the alcohol ran
we just go like,
can we stop rehearsals right now?
Because we both didn't know who we were, where we were. No. You actually get emotional yourself, because it's such a deep. I hate the expression I feel your pain, but you have to get in there where he hurts, And when the actor does that, then I hope that everybody feels it too. And then that's all you can hope for. And to see a full house, really, it's such a blessing. And I'm really grateful. We all are for this. It really is fantastic.
That was excellent. Thank you. Very good.
Thank you very much.